All right, I'm walking outside, but I want to provide a little more context to today's breaking news. So as you just heard, the Conor McGregor-Michael Chandler fight scheduled for June 29th is off. It has been canceled. Conor McGregor suffered an injury about a day or so before that scheduled press conference in Dublin. That was early last week. And so that's why there wasn't a press conference. Now, the reason why they didn't want that to come out was because there was hope that the fight would still be on and that it would be all good and salvaged. And so you obviously don't want your opponent to know that you are hurt. Understandable. And so initially there was obviously some anxiety over the injury. Then there was optimism, as I've reported all along, and they started to re-promote it, and Michael Chandler did an interview about it and all this stuff. But then at the beginning of this week, the pessimism started to creep in, and about 48 hours or so ago, the realization was that this fight isn't going to happen. And so the UFC went into overdrive, and this was led by Hunter Campbell, who's become quite known now in the MMA community due to that UFC Fight Inc. docuseries on Roku. And they reached out to a bunch of people. The main one being there aren't a ton of options right now, just given the schedule, given who has fought, given who is scheduled to fight. And the top choice seemed to be from the beginning Jiri Prochazka against Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title rematch. There were some other feelers sent out to the likes of Max Holloway. There was some talk of a replacement for McGregor. Not a lot of options as far as a brand new fight is concerned. And finally, about around 24 hours ago, they really started to zero in on Prochazka and Pereira. Prochazka was in from the start. When he did that interview at the Octagon show, he was not referring to this. He was referring to perhaps the Perth card later this summer. Alex Pereira was the big hurdle, mainly because he's in Australia doing a seminar tour, taking some time off, but has continued to train, I'm told. He also had those 2 broken toes. One suffered before 300, one suffered during his win over Jamal Hill at UFC 300. But the man is stepping up again. Less than 10 fights in the UFC, and he's doing another incredible thing. The 2 MSG fights, 300, now stepping up. Obviously the other big fights as well. Double champion, all that stuff. And so nothing was ever going to compare to a McGregor fight. Nothing will compare. Nothing can compare. But the UFC pulls another rabbit out of their hat and they get it done. Pereira Prochazka 2 is on. New main event, UFC 303, June 29th.